Hello, hello everyone. Can you please write a few messages in the chat, like where are you from, what are you doing, what's your name? Oh, wow, great. Thank you very much. It's just so nice to know that there are real people behind the screen, as I cannot see you, unfortunately. Italy, we have US, we have Mexico, UK. Wow, that's great. And what are you doing? Like what professions? What are you doing in your job? Oh, so many messages. Thank you very much. So great. Paid search lead, digital marketing strategy. We have software developers here as well. Wow, this is great. Social media. Cool. Thank you. Thank you very much for all your responses. So hi everyone, you're in the talk Big Data for Marketers, but I think it will be interesting for everyone, for developers as well, because sometimes you need to work with marketers to help them implement what they want to implement. So, and I will quickly introduce myself. I'm Khrystyna. I'm working as a cloud customer engineer at Google, specialized in our data analytics services. Customer engineer, it's like pre-sales engineer, if you don't know what customer engineer is. And I'm in the sales organization, and I'm working with the customers to help them to start using different cloud services. And I used to work in the digital marketing agency, and I started first as digital marketer. And then gradually I started working with data quite a lot. And then I was super interested in the cloud, and I decided to go into the cloud. So I'm doing as well, I'm doing the facilitation for the Unremarkable sessions. It's the very cool initiative that actually helps people to learn how to self-promote, how to talk about their achievements. And I'm lecturing, mentoring, volunteering a bit, writing a little bit, and yeah. And I suggest that we stay in touch on LinkedIn. So you have this small QR code, or just find me by name. Yeah, let's stay in touch. And after the session, if you have any questions, so we will have the Q&A at the end of the session. So you can ask your question here. And if you want to contact me for anything else, go ahead and use LinkedIn. I'm checking your messages as well. So we have a lot of digital marketers, data analysts as well. That's really great, amazing. Okay, cool. And from everywhere in the world. So the whole big community of digital marketers and analysts from all over the world. All right, so let's start there. Okay, so I wanted first to talk to you about the technical marketer and the myth of non-technical marketer. And I remember this article written by Simo Ahava. He is quite an expert in our digital area. And he wrote this article about the myth of the non-technical marketer, saying that, hey, folks, we're actually technical. If you're a marketer and you think you're not technical, it's quite impossible these days, because who says marketing today says digital marketing. And digital marketers use pretty sophisticated tools and know how to track stuff, how to put sometimes JavaScript code on the website to track conversions, or how to add some UTMs to URL and to shorten this URL to put it in the blog post. So we marketers, and I say we because I used to be a marketer as well, we kind of do a lot of technical stuff, but we still sometimes consider ourselves non-technical. Say, oh, it's too technical for me. I won't go there. I won't try to understand this or that because it might be too technical for me. But it's not actually. And yeah, you should be reassured, because we all think like that. And I used to think this way. And yeah, I see some nice messages as well. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you all again. So, and technical skills, they become increasingly important for us marketers, right? Why so? Because you know, this whole buzz with the Gen AI at the moment. Everybody wants to use generative AI, and all of a sudden there are plenty of experts in this. And we kind of realized that, yeah, Gen AI, we want to use AI with our data, but we actually want to have some data as well, right? We need some data to work, to implement some Gen AI techniques, etc. So how about data? And so we're getting back in this talk to this term, big data and big data for marketers. And I wanted to explain you where you should start to kind of get familiarized with the subject and why it's important. And talking about this technical marketers and non-technical marketers, I wanted to kind of show you as well a nice article written by Juliana Jackson, quite an expert and an influencer in our field as well, because she made this journey from marketing, from growth hacking, to the technical part. And she wrote this technical marketing guide to help those who kind of transitioning as well and want to know more about different IT skills. So really advise it to you. So let's continue, and let me know if you know who Simo Ahava and Juliana Jackson are. If you have seen them already and if you follow them. Yeah, Simo is guru, that's true. Hyper, super duper technical. Reading your comments at the moment, very nice. Okay. So, and yeah, why should you be technical as marketer, and why big data is important? And I shouldn't even explain that, right? We all know why. We know that we need data to do the AI. We know that we need data to personalize experience for our customers on the website. We know that we need big data to target audience better, to show the relevant ads, to analyze area of our ads. We know all that, but sometimes we just don't know where to start. And I quickly went to our customer reference website for Google Cloud and about different marketing analytics cases, just to show you a few examples of how actually customers use marketing analytics data for their marketing analytics and for their marketing in general. And there are some who use data to kind of improve their customer behavior analysis. There are some who use data to understand better what the customers want. Some who use it to calculate better ROI, because sometimes we have a hard time as marketers to understand what actually brings us money, what actions bring the company money, and how do we prove that everything that we invested in this amazing event or in all this advertising around it, how it actually helped us. And some use big data to personalize customer experience, but there are much more other cases. And maybe if you can write the quick message in the chat, like what use cases have you thought about for your company, for your business, where you can use actually big data for the marketing. So don't hesitate to write a few words on that. For the lookalike audience, just reading your messages in the chat. Estimating customer lifetime value, absolutely, yes. Like all your ideas, go ahead and just write them in the chat. And there are so many tools for us as marketers, right? They all fight for their attentions. They like use our tool, do something, buy our solution. They all want to help us. They all create amazing products to help us automate stuff, to do it better, to do it in the best possible way. And there are so many of them, and we have hard time to choose like what are the best solutions for this or that specific problem. And it's quite challenging, right? And sometimes we also say like, but I kind of lack technical skills to evaluate really if the tool is good or not. And sometimes we just use something that we know, something that we heard about, right? Something that, for example, we saw that on LinkedIn somebody posted about it. We maybe ask some questions and we know, okay, let's try this tool, for example, or we just kind of compare by price and use the cheapest one. It depends on our budget as marketers, right? But basically, when we talk about data, and especially big data, what's important? For example, for me, when I did this transition between non-technical and technical marketer, and then when I started using more and more data for my marketing actions, I realized that actually the things that are important is how do you store your data and clean it? Where is the place where you store and clean your big data? And how do you actually, what do you do to activate this data? Basically, that's it, right? And what I mean by activating the data is making some magic with it, make something great with it. Use machine learning, AI to do some cool stuff, or maybe to create this lookalike audiences, to create, I don't know, to create some personalized, super personalized experience, to recommend products, etc. It's basically it. So, okay, is there any place where I can put all my data and then connect my super duper cool marketing tools to this data in order to get some value from it? And sometimes we think like, oh, there are so many things we need to know, so many technical things, and we imagine some kind of the toolkit of the full-scale developer saying, yeah, I probably need to know everything, right? Need to know all of that. But basically, what we need to know to do big data for marketing, it's I would say these terms. So let's go to another slide. Here you go. So stop sending GIFs in the chat because I start laughing at them and get deconcentrated. So first thing you need to know is what is data warehouse, data lake. Yeah, actually send GIFs because GIFs are cool. So data warehouse, data lake, and data lakehouse. Data warehouse. There is usually quite a confusion between these terms. Warehouse is where you store very organized, structured or semi-structured data, almost structured, usually tables. It's the place where you store tables with data. Data lake is the place where you can store everything. And everything is data, right? Images, PDF documents, CSV files, etc. Plenty of different documents or elements that you have that can be a data. You can store them in data lake. Data lake is usually the place where you store stuff that will be probably used in the transformed way in the data warehouse. For example, you will say, yeah, but how can you use images, for example, in data warehouse? Well, imagine that you ask some ML service to go through images and tag them automatically with the words, saying like, okay, these are the images with the dogs. And for example, in your data warehouse, you store one column with the link to the images and one column with the tags. So now your unstructured data becomes structured data. And in data lake, you have your images. In data warehouse, you have the links to the images and the tags that are used. There is another term that is quite often used these days is lakehouse. So where you combine both, saying, okay, now the tools are so powerful that you can do machine learning and some sophisticated stuff on unstructured and structured data at the same time. So sometimes you can meet this term as well. So, okay, now we understand the terms to store your data. Then how to explore this data. Our human eye have hard time to explore big data, right? Because somebody once told me that a big data is when you have to scroll a lot, right? It's just a huge amount of data. You scroll, you try to understand what's going on, but it's very hard to understand what's happening. And this kind of why data visualization was created in the first place. And we all know that it's quite handy to see the nice graphic that shows that numbers go up or go down. So a good BI or visualization tool, and I made distinction here because the visualization tool just help you to visualize things, and BI or business intelligence usually helps you to do some sophisticated analysis to combine data between tables, etc. And there is SQL. SQL, it's the language. It's not really a programming language, but it's a language that helps you to communicate with the database or data warehouse. And it's at the basic level, it's pretty easy to use, even for the non-technical marketers. So to know some basic SQL can quite help you when exploring your data in the data warehouse, for example. And some BI or a visualization tool, they use a little bit of SQL as well. So I would say this part, SQL knowledge, so at least some basic SQL knowledge would be quite handy as well. I see someone wrote in the chat about data swamps. There are data swamps, but you don't want to go there. Absolutely. So true. By the way, for the question, some more specific questions, not to like the discussion part, you can post them in the Q&A session and we will check them afterwards if we have time, okay? So just to make sure that the questions, we store them in the specific place. So, and the third part is know how to feed your usual marketing tools with the data. For example, prepare your audience in the data warehouse and then export it to your emailing tool, or to export, for example, with using machine learning, classificate your audience into segments and export them, for example, to advertising tool. So how do you connect your marketing tools with the data? And usually the sophisticated marketing tools on the market, they already have connectors to the most known data warehouses on the market. And they just tell you, just give us access to the data and we will do the rest. So, and important note here, let's be serious. Don't forget about privacy. Really important. So use the tools that promise you to respect the privacy of your customers. So, and something that I really like is the nice schemas that kind of show what's going on. So imagine on your left, you have a bunch of sources, different sources, your web analytics data, your CRM, social media data, etc., that you connect to your data warehouse, and you send this data regularly. There are two small words there, batch on stream and stream. What it means is that it shouldn't be like, it should be familiar to you, but batch, it's when you send something once per day, for example, you collect the data in your advertising tool and you send it once a day. In the stream mode, it's like it's streaming all the time. You send data every time there is a data point. Every time there is an event, you send the data. It can be quite handy when you need to analyze data in real time. For example, I don't know, if there is a sport event and you want to analyze how many people are watching this game at the moment, and you need You don't need to know this data tomorrow, you need to know it now. So maybe you will want to make sure with your team that you're downloading this data, you're loading this data in the streaming mode. Then you connect your BI or visualization tool to the data warehouse, and most of the known BI tools or visualization tools on the market, they connect quite easily to the known data warehouses in the market. Or you connect different ML, so machine learning or artificial intelligence platforms to your data in order to do some magic, even more magic that you already did. Some data warehouses and data lakes and data lake houses, they give you the possibility to do ML or AI inside this services and solutions. And then afterwards, well, once your data is ready in BI tools, and you can kind of distribute the reports to everyone, and you can use it in the marketing tool as well. So it's something that I explained on the previous slide, just put into schema. All right. So, and I don't really like the slides with a lot of text, but here, sorry about that. I really wanted to show you like the process of thinking of the marketers when they want to use big data. Sorry again for the lot of text, but let's bring it, let's kind of break it into pieces. So first of all, always start thinking about the use cases, because sometimes we want to buy a nice marketing tool, and then afterwards we try to tailor our needs to this tool. We say like, okay, I have this tool, it has its limitation, let's kind of use it within its limitations. But it's better to think first about what are your use cases and priorities as a marketer, as analyst. Do you want first to use data in order to recommend products, or to do better ads, or to target better the audience? So try to think on the several use cases first, then think about what would be the place where you will store your data. Do you need to acquire a data warehouse solution, or maybe you have already one in the house? And in this case, I would suggest that you as marketer or analyst go and talk to your IT team. Probably there is already a data warehouse used in the enterprise, and maybe you can take some part of it and start using it for your marketing purposes. This is a huge problem of big organization, and even sometimes medium organization, that the departments don't communicate with each other. So go and ask, maybe you have already a nice data warehouse and data visualization tool. The third thing is list your data sources needed for your use cases. Where do you need to take data from? Will it be Google Analytics, Google Ads, Facebook ads, Bing ads, etc.? What are your sources of data? Maybe some emailing, MailChimp, etc. Once you listed the sources, define how to get the data from the sources to your data warehouse in order to consolidate it, to put it together. Usually, so for the known tools on the market, there are connectors. There are connectors like, for example, the Supermetrics connector, right? That we all know. And they help you to connect your advertising, emailing, etc. tools to your data warehouse quite easily. You have always the option to create your own connector. You have the resources internally. So think about it. Like, maybe you have some, I had the cases where the customer, they have their own in-house CRM, and obviously there's no connector existing on the market, but there are always ways to kind of download, for example, the CSV from the CRM with the data one time per day and send it to your cloud data warehouse. There are always the solutions for that. So What else we have in this huge list of tasks is define whether the data is usable as it is, whether once it's in the data warehouse, it's already nice and tidy, but it's rarely the case, of course, but it can be used, or whether you need to do some cleaning and data preparation. And if you want to do it in data warehouse or maybe already in visualization tool. Then next step, it's choose your BI visualization tool, but there is another step, define what reports you need. And probably you will argue with me saying, yeah, but what about, maybe we should think about what reports we need, and then we should choose the visualization tool. And you will be right. So, because sometimes if you need some kind of sophisticated, unusual reports, probably the tool that you will choose for that will be quite limiting, or maybe will not have the functionality that you need. So you might want to decide at first what kind of reports you will need, dashboards and reports, and who will need them. Maybe there is I don't know, the management team that they want to have the reports presented in a specific way, and you want to make sure, for example, that this BI tool helps you to download the report into the slides format, and or schedule the PDF sent from the report automatically every day to the manager's email address. So once you define the use cases, and choose your BI visualization tool, find how to leverage the consolidator you have. Now that you have this data, you have this gold stored well and prepared inside your data warehouse, now you can connect your marketing tools, and quite usually they are already quite ready to accept your data and to start doing things, and to say, hey, if you give me the possibility to connect to the data warehouse, I can help you create the audience, for example. So then how can you leverage the existing, so the tools that you use with all this data that you have inside your data warehouse now? And so kind of the big data for marketing starter pack, I would say that would be the understanding of the concepts mentioned in this presentation. Read a lot about the use cases, read about what others do with big data. There are plenty of great articles, big data for marketing purposes, that explain how different companies use big data for their marketing. So inspire yourself. If you cannot come up with the use cases, so don't hesitate to go and see what others do. It's quite obvious as advice, but I like this one, is that sometimes, like, to understand what the tool is nice or not, whether it's something that can respond to your goals, there are a bunch of videos that you can search for. Start typing like introduction to Looker Studio, for example, in order to understand to have some quick tutorial about the solution, to see how to use it, and probably to help you, it will help you understand the basics. And I really suggest to learn some basic SQL. I really like this website that I mentioned here in the slide. Is the free website. If, as I remember correctly, you don't have to register, just go there and do some exercises on SQL. It's pretty nice. Yeah, okay. And of course, because I'm from Google, I wanted to share some nice Google educational resources with you, and you will have the slides afterwards. But in case that if you're impatient to test these tools and these labs actually that I'm sharing now with you, I think I will add it into the chat. Here you go. Yeah, sending the links, but you will have the presentation as well. So those are the the site Cloud Skills Boost used to be called Quick Labs. And it actually gives you the bunch of different labs that you can go with step-by-step guidance, where you need to click, what you exactly need to do and for what. It's really educating, and I like it as well because it creates you some kind of sandbox environment, and you don't have to use your tools and your data and your environment. It's really create something for you in order for you to train on the in the environment that is created just within this labs time limit. So, and on this cloud skill boost, there are some labs that require credits, so subscription, and there are a lot of free labs, and I think I selected only the free labs for you here. And of course, because we talk about big data, and there is this amazing buzzword at the moment, generative AI, everybody's talking about it. I'm sending to you as well the links on yeah, I see that my message was too big to be pasted properly into the chat, but you will have this link afterwards, so don't worry. So there are some Gen AI labs as well on the Cloud Skill Boost website. So a small bonus for you if you want to become even more technical than you are already. And it's actually interesting because it kind of uses ML AI with the data warehouse solution. So to get familiarized with data warehouse solutions and AI ML at the same time is pretty nice. All right then, and I think that's it. I love the last question in the chat. I'm already way too technical. Any advice to get less technical? I actually have one, because when I started giving lectures in the university, I realized that students don't understand anything, and they ask plenty of questions all the time, and so I learned myself to explain in a more clear way and in a less technical way, so it really helps. Okay, great, thank you very much. I think we can go to the Q&A part. We have a few time. Thank you all for the nice messages. So when should an organization look into data warehouse? Do you have any recommendation in terms of which data warehouse is good? Well, I'm a bit biased here because I work in Google and I find that BigQuery is super amazing as data warehouse solution. So I would definitely say BigQuery, right? But of course, it's up to you to evaluate. There are top performance on the market. But yeah, I mean, I'm biased. I actually started working at Google because I really loved BigQuery. So yeah, and as a marketer, I used it quite a lot. But the question about when should an organization look into data warehouse? Now. Like whenever you have more than 2 sources of data, I would suggest go ahead and start doing your data warehouse. You will thank yourself later. Like if you have 2 advertising platforms, you definitely want to combine this data together to do some nice analysis and some automation, etc. So really like start now if you have more than 2 data sources. So next question, what is the best way, tools, resources to start learning SQL and become proficient? So the one I sent to you, but also when you choose the data warehouse that you will work with, I suggest that you search the course that, for example, when I started working with BigQuery, I found the specific course that was SQL for BigQuery, and I really loved it. It was super basic, and it really explained me how to do it inside BigQuery, because like I didn't want to. SQL has dialects as normal language, so choose your tool first, then just Google the course. There are plenty of different courses, like, for example, SQL in Snowflake, SQL in BigQuery, SQL in Databricks, etc. All right. So how can you choose? Okay, can you talk more about a data warehouse, data lake house? How can you choose? So many options. So usually you don't have to choose, because data lake, it will be something between your data and the data warehouse. In data lake, you can send everything. You can send PDFs, you can send images, you can send CSV file, etc. Everything that is unstructured or structured can be there. You can, for example, say that, hey, I have my bucket with all the data there. Once I clean it and structure it, I can put it in data warehouse. I would say that usually you need to have both, or to have, for example, some lakehouse solution. But yeah, so it's usually both. All right. Checking out the questions. Do we, for the moderators, do we still have time for any more questions? You can respond to the chat. So, in another question, in any organization without data BI tools mindset, it's always difficult to invite them to stop using Excel. How would you recommend to educate teams on using BI tools? Well, there is always, people are scared of change, right? Changing the tools, learning something new. Sometimes it's a bit scary, and we think it might be complicated. So a good training to show how the product is amazing and easy to use. A good training at the beginning is a great thing, but also some probably guidelines and some kind of hey, now for the report, we only use this. You can do Excel on your side if you want, if it's easier for you, but then put it in the right form in the report, to have some kind of specific guideline at the level of the company, saying that for the reporting, we use this tool. But make sure to explain the solution in a friendly way, in an easy way, in a not too technical way, step by step, to people, and to create some documentation and tutorials as well internally. Okay, I'm checking as well the questions that I can respond to. Because, for example, when you say, there's a question about, do you find Google BigQuery to be scalable and budget friendly compared to other options like AWS? I've never worked with AWS, so I don't know really. Of course, I mean, whenever I speak to my customers about BigQuery, I say that it's budget friendly and it's scalable, because I think it is. But I didn't work with Amazon for tools, for example, to compare. All right. There is a question as well, what data warehouse is best for security? I don't know if there's a question about for the security data, to store your security data and analyze if there are some issues with security. Oh, I don't know if there is a best data warehouse for that. I think all data warehouse that have some data protection are good for that. And what data warehouse is best for security? If you ask in terms of whether they are secure enough, I would say the most known data warehouses on the market, they actually pay a huge attention to the security, and there's always a page that explains different RGPD compliances and certifications, etc., and how it stores data and how it secures data. So it's always quite well explained in the documentation. Okay. I think we will need to wrap up for now. And go ahead, add me on LinkedIn if you want to ask me questions there. And I think I will hand it over to Kate. Hi, Kate. Thank you all very much for your comments and questions and everything.
Hello, can you hear me, Khrystyna?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Khrystyna, for that amazing session. Really, really enjoyed it, and it was great to see so much interaction on the chat as well. So yeah, thank you so much, Khrystyna. And next, we're going to meet Supermetrics co-CEOs, and we're going to learn how Supermetrics fuels growth with data. See you in the next session.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Khrystyna.